This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Well, happy holidays, and if you're looking for a delicious ice cream treat, here is my eggnog ice cream. Now, this is a custard-based ice cream, and it's actually very low in fat. So what we're going to do is get 2 cups of a 2% milk and put it in a medium saucepan. We're going to bring it to boil over medium heat, and that takes about 12 to 13 minutes. Now, a custard has eggs in it, so here's how I separate out my eggs. I have 3 small bowls, and over the smallest bowl, I take an egg and I separate the yolks from the white, and then I take the yolk, I put it in a separate bowl, and then I take the whites and put it in a separate bowl. Now, the reason that I go to all of this trouble is because for this recipe, we need 5 egg yolks, and one of the things that can happen is you can either get a bad egg or you can get a shell that just kind of disintegrates in your hands. And typically, if it's going to happen on like yolk 4 or 5. And so what happens is it messes up all the work you've already gone through. So if you go through this process, you'll find that even if that egg I was just cracking were to have a bad shell or something, it's not going to compromise the other yolks that I've already separated. So next, we take our 5 egg yolks and we pop them into the mixer using the whisk attachment, and we're going to get that going, get the eggs broken up, and then we're going to add 3/4 cup of sugar. And then we're just going to put the timer on and we're going to let these whisk up for about 2 minutes. Now, while the milk is heating and the eggs are whisking, you need to get a little contraption like this together. I have a large measuring cup and a little strainer. And what we're going to do is after we cook this custard, we're going to pour it through the strainer to collect any solids that have developed. Now, back at the stove, our milk is starting to develop a skin on it, and we can start to see some movement underneath it. That's what bringing milk to a boil means. It doesn't mean to be a rolling boil. So we take it off the heat, go over to the mixer, and you'll notice I'm pouring just about a tablespoon or so of hot milk into the eggs. And the reason I'm doing that is what we call tempering the eggs. And that means that we're warming the eggs up slowly to the temperature of the milk. If we were just to pour all that hot milk in at once at the beginning, the eggs would start to scramble, and nobody wants a lumpy ice cream. So do take just a minute or so and add the milk a little bit at a time to the eggs until it's all poured in. Then we're going to take that pot, put it right back on the stove, stop the mixer, and we're going to pour this hot egg and milk mixture right back into the pan like this. Now, at this point in time, you're going to want to make sure you have an instant read thermometer handy, because what we're going to do is we're going to put the temperature on low, and we're going to use a heat-resistant spatula, and we're going to start stirring the custard. We need to bring it up to about 170 degrees. Now, I was just talking about this with a friend the other day, and I don't understand why this is so, but there are some days where it takes longer for the custard base to reach 170, and sometimes it happens within just a couple of minutes. So do stick with it and be diligent about taking its temperature. Once it hits 170, we want to turn off the heat and immediately pour that custard through our strainer. And the reason is that even though we've cooked this slowly and very carefully, there are still going to be some solids, usually from little remnants of egg white that have cooked, and we want to get that out of our custard. And then what I do is I just let the custard sit on the counter for about a half an hour, bring it to room temperature. Then I cover it with some saran and I put it in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. This base needs to be totally cold before we can put it in our ice cream maker. Now it's time to start really building the eggnogginess of this ice cream. Now, like I mentioned, this is a 2% milk ice cream, so it's really low in fat, but we do want to add just a little bit of cream. So I'm going to add 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And now we build the eggnog. We need 1/4 cup of bourbon, a teaspoon of vanilla, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and the all-important ingredient in eggnog is some fresh nutmeg. So we want to measure out 1 teaspoon of fresh nutmeg. So now we've got all the flavors of a classic eggnog. Give it a little stir. You're going to find the spices do not want to blend, but that's okay. They will. And now we get our ice cream maker ready. So we put our chilled bowl on, get the dasher in place, put the cover on, and then you want to go ahead and start the machine. Get it rolling, and then go ahead, and this is why I love this giant measuring cup, is you just pour all of that right into the center. Now, this is a really interesting ice cream. It's going to churn for about 20 minutes, but if you've made any of my other ice creams, you're going to notice this is a little bit different. It's a little bit softer, and that's because of the bourbon. The alcohol doesn't allow actually the ice crystals to form. So this is going to be a little bit looser, and even more important that we harden it off. So after 20 minutes, get a freezer container and just pour all that ice cream out of the dasher and into your freezer container. And then what you're going to want to do is put a lid on that and put it into the freezer for at least an hour or so. That way the ice cream will be scoopable. So when you're ready to serve it, go ahead and get it out of the freezer, and you're just going to find that this ice cream scoops absolutely beautifully. It's so smooth and creamy, and it's just got the perfect texture. There's something about, like I said, that alcohol breaking the ice crystals. It's really, really good. And I just put a little bit of whipped cream and a little sprinkle of cinnamon, and you have got an amazing eggnog ice cream. Now, before I let you go, I just have to let you know I've been nominated for a Tasty Award honoring the best in food and fashion programming. And I've been nominated for Best Home Chef in a Series for my Farmers Market Gourmet show. Now, there is a viewer's choice piece to this award. So if you'd like to vote, go to our website and go to the Sundays with Cindy show notes. And I'll have an icon there that will take you to the Tasty Awards voting page. Now, voting does end on January 5th. Well, this eggnog ice cream is really the perfect holiday treat. It's just like a cup of eggnog, but frozen. Now, if you'd like to give it a go at home, just go to our website, visit the Sundays with Cindy show notes, and I'll have the recipe there for you. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. Happy holidays, and I'll see you next time.